I'd like to call to order the November 21st, 2024 Town of Somerville Design Review Board agenda. The first item of business is approval of last month's minutes or any modifications. Is there a motion for approval?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Alrighty. First up is signs, 1525 Old Trolley Road. When you come up, someone is here, if you come up and make sure you state your name and sign in.
To quickly go over the staff report, internally lit signage is not permitted for multi-tenant signage. This sign that's at the Trolley Plaza Shopping Center already exists and does have internally lit cabinet signage. But because they are modifying the sign, both in structure and signage area, they have to come into compliance with the current ordinance. We've made an administrative adjustment to allow for a couple square feet extra of signage, but the one thing that we can't make an administrative adjustment for this project is the use of internally lit signage. So that is the only thing that y'all are reviewing, is the request to allow them to continue to use internally lit signage.
1525 Old Trolley Road.
So it's where Publix is. Oh,
Mm-hmm. That one. Mm-hmm. Of the shopping center. I assume so, yeah. We're using the same brick structure. We're just removing the top portion of it and then redoing the illuminated cabinet. So we were just wanting to keep the cabinet illuminated.
Great. I don't know if I'm that well versed, Bill.
I think we're keeping it all. We're keeping the brick structure the same. I don't believe so. I think we're keeping the brick how it is. We're just removing that top cabinet.
But this bottom portion will be painted to match this brick.
We don't have it like that, no. We have it like how it is.
I mean, the drawings show that it'll all be painted one. So
We were just using that as like a template holder for the brick.
Looks like all you're doing is replacing the cabinets, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And the whole top.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The whole top will look much better.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole side will be about 2 feet more.
Mm-hmm.
Are you adding the number of tenants?
I think it's
You had two.
like 2 more, so.
a lot.
How many do you have currently?
Not to count them. Like 12.
13. And there's
13.
17 on the new ones. And where the word existing sign is, that column's wider than what is shown on the
Yes.
proposal.
That's coming.
And that's coming off, isn't it?
But this side, the stuff with the rest is coming off, right?
Yes, yeah.
Put that sign down, so it's all square.
Mm-hmm. On top of the brick, yep.
Back and up, Trolley Square and
Trolley Square will be halo lit letters, so it'll be like reverse. So the face won't be lit; it'll be lit back on the sign. No, kind of. It won't, like, the wording won't actually be lit. The lighting will go back on the red part of the sign to give it like a halo glow around the letters.
The red will be lit, the white.
And each tenant will be lighted also.
Which is, that's how it is now.
And And is all the brick gonna be painted, even the bottom of the,
No.
We don't have it.
No.
We're just leaving it as is.
Staying as is.
needs to paint it all?
Okay.
That looks horrible.
Made it look like it's
Okay.
Remember, this was all brown until Lossy Knight. His renovation came in and painted those.
Well, maybe they could unpaint it. It needs to be consistent.
Well, the quickest thing is to paint it all.
Yeah, quickest thing is to paint it.
signs can be used tonight. Back in the library, including the internal lighting.
Okay.
So that is why they're coming before you, is because staff could not approve the internally lit. Yes.
And I will say that the two-tone brick does match the building columns on there. I think that's why it's like that originally.
We gotta leave the brick part the way it is and just deal with the sign part.
Just freshen up the white paint. Clean it.
Okay.
Perfect.
It's ugly.
Those would be my
How
comments.
it matches the column,
Okay, got it.
all ugly together. Okay, would you like to make a motion
I'll make a motion. to approve it.
on the comments for freshen up the white brick, keep the brown brick the way it is? And approve the illumination.
You're approving the illuminated light on
Yes.
the trolley square and the tenants.
Yes. All right, is there a second? A second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Yes, no,
All right, thank you. Next is 1600 Old Trolley Road.
So this sign was originally permitted with a brick, approved with conditions for a brick base to match the existing church building. There was a car accident that destroyed their original sign. I've listed the architectural compatibility requirement here for monument signage. It appears the base of the sign has been wrapped with a synthetic material, which is printed to match the brick pattern of the church. They're requesting to keep the sign as installed. Staff did want to note that there was another condition of approval for single color for the digital sign, that it should be expressed in one color only, but that is not currently the case. They're showing multicolor images and staff has notified the applicant of this. And I'll hand it over to them.
Good afternoon, Councilman. What we had was the church had a vehicle run through their existing sign and damage it beyond repair. So they had a couple estimates from around and couldn't get anybody to get a really good estimate as far as replacing the brick base that was there. So they contacted us about doing a sign. We discussed with them about doing the electronic message display and the changing out that manual change board that they have. So when we visited the site, we found out, yes, you're gonna have to replace that brick because it's beyond repair. So they got a couple more quotes, and this went on for probably 3 or 4 months trying to get quotes together for them. We did not do brick bases. We're out of Camden, South Carolina, a couple hours away, but we put these LED signs out all over the state. We currently have done all the high schools at Somerville High School, Fort Dorchester, and Ashley Ridge, and that's how they got our information. So basically, we gave them a price on the LED sign. The insurance company didn't give them enough money to even replace the existing sign that they had that was damaged. So they made some fundraisers, come up with some money to do the our sign, and we designed it with that base. I said, well, the ordinance says it's got to be conformed to what the church building looks like. I said, well, that's no problem. I think that we can handle that, and I think we can save you some money, because they finally got a price for the brick for around $6,000. And I said, well, with our base If we take a digital photo of the building, get the actual brick, we can print that, put it on the base, and it will look exactly like the brick that's on the building. But it saved them about $6,000 because it was no other cost, didn't have to incur any more costs with us. So that's what we put up. And when I filled out the permit there, I spoke with Becca about that, and the only question that she had was about the height of the sign when they contacted us from my drawing.
That's not
I'm-
true. I'm sorry. I'm Becca.
Okay,
Just
Yep.
to clarify, I did send those comments about, because the original base was not designed as proposed to be brick.
right.
So I had sent y'all the architectural compatibility section that's referenced in my staff report as one of my plan review comments, and y'all did send back this plan here, which
Right.
for our purposes shows a brick base.
That's right.
So once that was approved, that's what was expected, but just wanted to clarify that was a staff review comment, not just the height.
That was she had contacted me about the height on it and the brick there. Okay. And when I put in this here, when I read the actual bear with me one second. Let's see here. Bear with me one second here. On the specs for the, thought that I had this highlighted. So I
You
could
did
read
right
this to
here.
you. Is that it? Yeah, on my drawing here that I turned in, it said the sign base will match the existing church building. And also on here will be mounted on two 4-inch steel poles and wrapped with an aluminum base skirt. I didn't say anywhere in my permitting that it was going to be brick. And per our conversation, I didn't understand that it had to be actual brick surface. And then in the permit itself, not the permit, but the, this might be it right here. Hold on one second. Not sure sketch detail good. Okay. Compatible. All right, it says architectural compatibility. Sign shall be architecturally compatible with the style, composition, materials, colors, and details of the building, and with other signs on nearby buildings. This does not apply to industrial signs. The sign base should match the existing church building. And that's just what I took it as. The sign base should match the building. So we did a digital print. I don't know if you have a picture of that or not. I sure did. And you won't even feel any texture. It's just a smooth finish. But if you walk up to the sign and look at it, you wouldn't know that it wasn't brick. You would think that it was brick. And that's the whole purpose of using that material versus doing brick, is saving a lot of money for them. And that's the only thing we were trying to do. I wasn't trying to get around not using brick. We don't do it, period. But let's see here. And if you walked up to it, I mean, it. Can we use the wood that's on the front of the building, the lap siding, and put the lap siding on the base of the sign? We're trying to keep it consistent. But just basically trying to save them a lot of money. That's it there. Yes, sir.
Well, the intent of the ordinance, I mean, I understand where you're coming from, but to match the building doesn't mean take a picture of it and match it.
Means
mean, that's
use the same
Match the
material.
building, so I understand where you're coming from. I think it was in staff's comments as well. This is the first time it's happened. I think approving a picture of a brick is kind of opening up a precedent. What's to say you don't make a whole house out of a picture of bricks?
No,
you know?
no, of course not. And this has nothing to do with the structure of the sign.
Yeah, how long does this last?
Probably 7 to 10 years, and where it's at now, being in the shade there. We could do that. Yes, sir. I could do that lap siding and put around that with no problem. Mhm. Okay. Or like what the church front is, it's actually horizontal there, but. Mhm. No, that's vertical. Oh, well, it's actually horizontal siding. Yes, sir. Just do some stand up, box it in. Mhm. Yeah, that's no problem. Right. Okay.
So he would need to make a reset.
Yeah.
In-
I have a question regarding the illumination at the top. And you talked about it's different colors.
So we only allow for single color display. So like what you have in front of you, that would meet the requirement. But if, they're displaying, multiple colors, they can't do that. They can only use the single color. And
So,
that color can change. So they could use blue and black, they could use green and black, they could use white and black, but within that display, you can't have multiple colors.
so the white and black is acceptable.
Yes.
That's all I would be in favor of is the white and black, not any other colors.
The ordinance just speaks to single color.
You have purview over stuff like that.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't.
Single.
Typically, when you're having like an LED or a monument sign, that style that's got electronics on it, typically in the commercial district, you're gonna have a single color, like either red or an amber, something of that sort. The church is concerned about this because just around the corner at the medical center, they have a lighted LED sign that plays everything.
This is a common problem in town. We have to enforce this requirement all the time. So,
There's several that's around here that's doing that. So
And
that's where.
and the county does allow it, whereas the town does not.
like the other
Gotcha.
issue we've had in the past is, we've heard from residents that don't want any more LED light
No,
on Trolley Road.
they're
And
awful.
a lot of it
Mhm.
is related to when they change the message frequently, like every 10 seconds
It's
or 30
disturbing.
seconds or whatever.
Mhm.
It's some consider it a safety issue because it distracts the drivers
Mhm.
at night. So how would the policing of that?
So
or-
unfortunately, our staff is small. Unless, we can't be in the office and out in the field. Most of the time, the way we end up enforcing this is if it's reported to staff. Or if staff is out in the field, completing other duties and we see a project that, isn't conforming, but we don't have a code enforcement officer dedicated to zoning, so it's just the 5 or 6 of us.
In the past, our position was we as a community and a board don't like reader boards. The exception has been churches. because it's a church, it's make community announcements, that sort of thing.
Right.
And then we historically have really discouraged LED boards, especially on Trolley Road. So I think that's the challenge, and the fact that it's already built is the challenge too. But is there anyone else that would like to speak to this project? Would you have to come up though? State your name and if you don't mind.
My name's Aaron Jenkins. I'm the property director at Grace Lutheran Church. I just want some clarification. And it's not necessarily a comparison, but I want to understand. Somerville Medical Center is 0.3 miles from this facility right down the road, and they have the same sign with the same colors and pictures and all that kind of stuff. Have they been approached? Are they going to be approached? Is this applicable to everybody in this area that has this kind of sign?
So to answer a few of your questions, this is the first I'm hearing of it, so we'll follow up on that. Staff will, with that property owner about their signage. We'll have to look into, when the sign was approved. If it was before this ordinance was in place, as long as they don't modify the sign, they don't have to come into conformance. But I'll have to look into that further, and I can update you on that if you'd like, if you want to give me your
Well,
contact information.
I'm not trying to get somebody else in trouble. I'm just trying to understand.
No, we enforce them as they're reported, similar when we're reviewing these signs. Those conditions are put on the permit, as part of my review. Yeah, and the single color changeable copy shall be expressed in only one color was a comment on this project. So if that was an issue, we would encourage you to reach out to staff before the permit gets issued, to address those concerns. But this is a condition we have to issue with all of these signs at this point, because the ordinance was put in place in 2018. So like I said, I'll have to look into when that sign was installed, and make sure. There are parts of Somerville Medical Center that are technically not in town. Some of them are in Dorchester County, so I'll have to look at that as well because they have different signage allowances than we do.
Yeah, and that's why I'm at, like I said, I'm not trying to get
No, it's a
somebody else
concern.
in trouble, but
I'll
I'm
absolutely address it.
trying to understand that.
What has happened historically is if a reader board is approved and it has certain conditions and everything, 2, 3, 4 years later, there's a different manager, there's a different person in charge. And all of a sudden they say, why aren't we spinning the message on this every 30 seconds? And they have an app on their phone or whatever, and they just change it. And they change the message, and well, let's add some lights and fireworks come off of it.
Mhm.
And it just becomes, the citizen
Too
pathetic
much.
becomes a problem. So that's kind of why we're there. It's there.
Mhm.
So
Can I
think-
ask? I'm sorry. Can I ask one more question?
Sure.
Regarding the blinking or whatever was about, is that primarily a concern at night that they're talking about or all hours? Because it can be put on a timer and shut off 10 or 12 to,
That's another
Till
requirement
daylight.
that was a part of the comment.
that would
for-
help.
The ordinance doesn't specify day or night. It's just, it has to be, no shorter than 8 seconds.
Typically, their messages are set up like probably 15 seconds. Because we understand too, I mean, I've been
People
at
have
this
to
for
read it.
27 years, and that's been a big problem as far as the signs.
Yeah.
That's not what we wanted.
Well, to be clear, that wasn't an issue with this sign. It was just the base and the single color.
That's right.
Okay.
Because our
Again,
messages aren't really super flashy. It's
What's your
just
name?
like-
What's your name?
I'm David Spradley.
Thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
But typically like on 15 second, and it would be an instant change. So there would be no movement. But that's what we're trying to do.
Again, it's just hard to police,
Right.
for various reasons, but sounds like what we need to kind of square back on is material, which, did we have a motion on that?
I think we got there.
Okay, any more comments or questions from y'all before we?
just for clarification, so that we're just, for the color thing, we're just talking about black back, white letters or blue letters or red letters or whatever it is, or a white background and black letters or blue letters or whatever, but no like logos or icons or pictures or
Have text and then a cross symbol, it all has to be blue. Or it all has to be-
Okay. Thank you very much. No problem.
You've already built this.
I still want to understand about the colors. All right, if they've got a black background and they're writing it in white now, okay? So they can change it to a white background and it can be red or it can be blue. I don't understand that.
It's
Because
not that
that's
they have
just
to,
as disturbing as a light at night because you're changing the vision people's eyes are looking at it. And it's distracting to people who drive.
What's the plan now with the black background you got or?
No, they're going to change it. They can change it
That's
to
what I
white. They can use
suggest
red.
as far as using a black background, that white text that you see,
And then you
something
would
that's
change all the
subtle.
letters so that you read different messages.
Right.
You already got that there. I would go for what you already got there.
I understand what you're saying as well too, like a red
like it.
background with white letters.
Well, not
It just-
I would not put that on
So
there.
we've already cut it back to black and white letters.
But when they change it, they can change it to white. They can make,
No,
the ordinance doesn't specify that it has to be a single specific selected color that cannot change. It just specifies that that changeable copy shall be expressed in one color only. So it doesn't say each day or for a specific message. It doesn't delve into that specifically. So I understand what you're saying. But it doesn't prohibit them from changing the color of the sign as long as it's expressed in one color.
so
Now,
in other
just,
words, that it allows them to do that. It allows them to change it to blue or
Unless
to
the
red. or-
DRB specifies otherwise.
I don't like it.
now, just to
I'm not gonna
clarify
vote for
also
it,
about
so-
the
You
brightness at night,
I like,
these have,
I like it the way it is now, very much.
You like,
I like this.
We're gonna mandate that stay there
Okay, put it
all
in
the
your,
time.
put it in your motion.
okay, any more comments?
yeah, just to clarify about the brightness as well. We install smart light sensors and any time at night, they'll dim down to about 15%. And then direct sunlight, they're going to go to about 100%. Now that's the only sign we've done on Old Trolley Road. So the other ones I can't speak for, but our product will automatically dim and will go extremely dim where it won't be bright and flashy at night.
Right.
Just to clarify that.
Thank you. Someone like to make a motion? They're requesting to allow use of alternative material. So I think that would be a no.
Well, they're,
I make a motion that we approve it based on vertical wood to the base. With the bait with a pronounced horizontal base, horizontal crown base. The colors to remain continually all the time. Black background, white letters,
Okay,
whatever the message.
whatever the message.
so how is staff approving that, or does it need to come back here, or you want to have a subcommittee of the board?
No, we could.
Or
we could have a cer- we
Or
could
it's approved with
staff can
conditions?
approve that.
So it's approved with conditions.
Yeah.
The base, but it would be the same color as the building.
Well,
the base would
base
be
white.
White, the same as the building.
If you go. that has-
Gotcha. Okay.
Like-
That's good.
Yeah,
So you're saying conditional approval with the white base with wood, or wood-like. What else? The black background with white letters,
Yes.
and it goes to staff for approval. Right? Is there a second? Second for approval with conditions? All right, any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Hi.
Opposed? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Next is 622 Old Trolley Road.
Okay, y'all previously reviewed this property, because the building was painted black without approval, which anytime, a street facing facade is altered more than 50%, it has to come before DRB. So at the June 27th meeting, these changes were approved after the fact, with the condition that the garage doors in the back of the building be painted to match the rest of the building. The board also noted that the property and business owners needed to work with staff on appropriate signage permits for the property, as the current signage was not appropriate and appeared to be temporary. And I'm referring to the signage on the wood screening on the property. Since that meeting, the building has not been painted to match the rest of the building, and the town has not received any signage submittals for the property. They are requesting to allow the back of the building to remain painted gray. Their request does not address the signage issue, but staff will continue to work with the property owners on appropriate signage. And I believe we were supposed to have someone zooming in representing the property, but I don't see him on.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh, there you are. Yes, yes, Will, we can hear you.
Hey guys, how are you?
And Will, I printed the pictures that you sent me in addition to what's in the packet, so the board members have those. I'm gonna hand them out to them right now.
Thank you. So when we came to the meeting in June, it was, as Becca suggested, an after the fact permit for the painted brick. Since, sir?
Will, I think we lost you.
No, I'm here.
Okay.
I thought somebody had a comment or a question. I'm sorry. So so we came in June and presented the slideshow that's on your screen. We dealt a lot in the discussion with the brick and forward-facing facades for Trolley Road, and there was a very limited conversation as to the back of the building. However, it apparently was lost in translation, or nonetheless, the back of the building was painted. However, it was painted to match the awnings, which were the silent night color. So all of the backs of the buildings were painted. They just were painted for the silent night versus the iron ore. As Becca mentioned, we do have a plan for the signage. However, we're trying to get our funding secured. We had a microburst storm that occurred earlier in the year that our insurance denied, and so we have been left to deal with that. You'll see if you've driven by the property recently that the whole brick facade on the smaller building on site has been taken down, but they've just started to rebuild that, and that will be done and then painted the iron ore color. But the request that is, I guess, before us today is to allow the rear facing facade, where the back doors and the garages are, to remain the silent night color, which again was a part of the submittal, but the document that's on the screen there doesn't show. It doesn't really address or reflect the back of the building. So our request would be that it be able to remain the silent night, which was painted with the front brick facing facade.
Do you have a picture of the Silent Night side and how that looks from the road?
The pictures
Can you see, is that this? Oh, you
So
can't see it, can you?
No, ma'am, but if you, I've got the pictures in front of me as well. I guess you can see it from Trolley Road, the backs of the building, from very narrow angles, because you've got the drive. Do you see the driveway that faces Trolley Road? You've got looks like a van on the right side, and then you've got a drive that then looks out to Trolley Road. And you can see the garage doors, your rear doors in the rear of the building.
Well, could you paint the rear doors, the personnel doors and the garage doors, could you paint those black as an accent color along the back?
Well, sure. I suppose we could. This is
I would do that. I would do that and leave the siding gray personally.
sure. And that's in our issue is we are an owners association. I don't own this complex. This is a group of owners that frankly are just in a bad place right now due to our insurance issues. The cars hit the building. We've just got a gluttony of our own problems that aren't yours. But considering the paint was just completed, it would be our request to leave it as is for now. If that could be a part of another paint job, will certainly, have to take place in 2 to 3 years, just as a result of that stuff flaking off or the paint being removed.
I've driven by several times and noticed that the building was painted black, and just as a thought, when I was driving by, I thought I kind of like the gray siding as opposed to it being black like the front. So
Yes, sir. I think,
kind of like the back being gray.
and I think it does break it up, and it allows although you can't, it's on in very limited angles of how you'd be viewing the property, maybe from the back of the Yield fashion site next door. You can see the awning color, and then the same color on the side and rear of the building, which is the Silent Night, to kind of tie everything together. I believe that was the thought process with the design firm that handled the color selection.
Becca, what was the original motion when this was originally approved? Because
And we did go back and look at the video, and there is, I believe, one of the board members made a comment, and it was probably the discussion no more than 15 to 20 seconds regarding the rear of the property, and it was frankly just at the focus point at that time, I felt like was the iron ore, the black color, and I do think it came out well, but we just didn't address the rear and the back of the property according to the minutes that are on record for our June meeting.
So Bill was the one who stated that the whole building should be painted the iron ore, and then I believe Handy agreed, and then the motion was made to approve with comments as
That's
noted.
the whole building.
Yes.
my recollection is the whole thing was supposed to be black, and I drive by it all the time. I think it's more visible than.
It's more visible.
Yes,
it's a
and
lot
Will
more
is
visible.
correct that it was at the very end of discussion that
But
was brought up.
In my mind, it was supposed to be this iron ore the whole time.
Yes.
So to be clear, what they're asking for is not to do that. They've already painted it and want it to be the gray. So they're asking for final approval. Andy, you have any thoughts?
Kind of like the wording. I would like black accents on it.
It was tan before, so it looks better than it did, I think. Alrighty, so. Would someone like to make a motion then? Or requesting final approval?
Make a motion, final approval. Comments noted.
And what are your comments?
Whatever they can get around to it, paint the back doors a black accent color.
Alrighty, is there a second? No second? Then that motion fails. Any further discussion?
I just think they need to paint it the black on the back. Sorry, I mean, I think it's very clear that we stated we wanted the whole building painted black.
Do you think they need to paint the entire back or maybe not the doors?
Yeah, maybe that would be all right. I don't know. I just think, what are the doors on the front? Are they black?
They're glass doors on the front.
They're glass doors.
Yes, ma'am. And I do think I do think the
And the
difference.
awnings are the light color?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, maybe
And
they
I-
could paint it black and leave the doors the light color. Mhm, mhm.
Yeah, from an aesthetic standpoint, just to balance, to give a little balance and not overkill of the iron ore color, I think that to paint the doors black would give that balance because the awnings on the front are gray, the building's black, and then you've got the siding on the rear and sides would be gray with the accents in black. It would kind of be one way, the accents would be your silver, and then in the other direction, your accents would be your black. I think that would give it some balance if that would be something that could be considered. Obviously, we would like to not repaint anything if that's a possibility, but I think painting it all one color, it kind of gives us the same effect for what we have now.
I'd like to make a motion that the back of the building be painted the dark color, the black, and that it would be acceptable for the doors to remain the light color that is presented.
The garage doors or the entryway doors?
Both.
Both,
Okay.
all the doors.
That seems like a good compromise position. So, motion is paint the back of the building, the iron ore, leave the doors as is. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ready? Thank you. Next is, Carbon Townhomes.
Okay, this project has come before y'all a few times, but was originally approved for final DRB in April of 2020. It was a different developer at that time. I've included the minutes. From that meeting, I won't include, or I won't read them verbatim. But just to clarify that those buildings were approved with vinyl siding, a 50-year product. The ordinance does allow for vinyl siding. The property owner at the time only completed 2 of the buildings, and then they did not move forward with the remaining 2 townhome buildings. It should be noted that the builder at the time did not follow the condition of approval for architectural shingles. DR Horton is submitting their proposed plan after discussion at 2 prior meetings. It should be noted that the only thing DRB is reviewing is the proposed change in building design. The applicant has modified their design to incorporate architectural elements to break up the side elevations and modified their porch plans to closer align with the existing buildings, addressing the board's previous comment. Staff feels that with the context of the existing buildings and history of the property in mind, that the new property owner is presenting an option that would complete the development and meets ordinance requirements. And those printed pages that I gave you will have some pictures that Jessica is going to refer to, as well as a site plan and landscaping plan.
All right. Becca, can you click down to where the renderings are?
Yes.
Good afternoon. I'm Jessica Shortina, representing DR Horton on this project. As mentioned, we aim to build out the remaining 12 lots to seamlessly integrate with the existing buildings and also to create a desirable streetscape from that intersection. We took the previous recommendations of the board to heart and made several adjustments to the plans and added several architectural details to our proposed plans. Also, after careful consideration with staff, we do plan to move forward with a vinyl siding as opposed to hardy. It is our understanding that the ordinance does fully permit a 50-year siding product to include vinyl material. And our objective on this project is to provide a quality product, but also to keep affordability in mind. So Becca has up our updated renderings. And if I'll go through some of the changes. If you could scroll up to the plans, the first page, oh, sorry, the first page of the plans. Thank you. So we've removed shutters, obviously, to meet the zoning requirement. We did add a shed roof there on the areas that protrude out to be cohesive with the current buildings, as they do have that continuous front porch, as you see on the photos I think you have in front of you. Becca, if you could go down to the next page. We added the column brick detail at the base there, again, to be cohesive with the existing buildings. We added the shed roof entry, or the rear entry. And then if you could scroll down, I believe on that page, Becca, there's some side elevations. There you go. Thank you. So we added a lot to the side elevations. I think this is greatly improved over the last rendition. So as you can see, we've added windows, we added a decorative vent there at the gable, band boards to break up that siding, a shadow box, which comes out a little bit. It's floating though, so it doesn't add to the impervious coverage, which all just kind of enhance that side elevations.
Bill, can you speak into your microphone? I'm having a hard time hearing you.
The new buildings would screen the backs of the existing buildings and the new buildings that you're gonna put on. Okay. And that would make a big difference, just to get them there.
Yes, I think that you'll see based on the comparison to the existing buildings, with the architectural details that we've added, you can see where the vacant lots are, that our buildings will kind of mix in and break up the monotony of the existing buildings. I think that you're seeing, and like you're saying, if you're coming from Garvin, you'll see the front of our building, and that will screen the rears of
That'll
the,
help a lot.
right.
So the front of the project, I think is gonna look fine. And you answered all. I drive by there twice a week up from Garbon towards Gahagan. And every time I look at the back of those buildings, I say, God almighty, we should finish.
Right.
So anything we can do to help you finish.
Cool. Appreciate it.
All right, and we've talked about vinyl siding before and all that, so would you like to kind of walk us through that, or I know you brought some
Sure.
samples.
Yes, I did bring some samples. These are a little bit more manageable. To give you an idea of the color scheme, very neutral, blend in with the natural landscape and also with the existing building. I do have a sample of the brick base as well and some actual siding samples.
Which,
But again,
is that all of the, are they, what are the colors you're choosing?
those are the colors we
All of them?
will use on the.
Okay.
Yeah.
Becca, can you go to the rendering?
So in terms of, choosing the vinyl siding, I think back to the affordability play, offering the vinyl offers a good balance between cost and the performance. We're looking at probably around a $300,000 price point here, which at the current market rates puts you at over $2,400 a month. In order to afford that, you'd have to earn $85,000 a year, which is higher than the median income in town of Somerville. So what we've learned in this market is that not all buyers place the same value on the same upgrades and options. And so what we've done is try to simplify our offerings, and we're able to then put that money into their pockets every month by buying down their interest rates and making it more affordable.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments or points you'd like to make?
Sure.
Any discussion? All right, they're seeking final approval. Like they've done what we've asked them to do,
That, all things we have.
so,
Yeah.
right. Someone like to make a motion? Any further discussion? All vote in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
See you.
Oh, here you go.
Next is 705 North Main Street.
And I apologize, I have South Main Street on my staff report, but it is North Main Street. So staff received a report that a parking structure had been installed without approval or permit at 705 North Main Street. Upon inspection by staff, it was noted that the rear building, which is visible from North Main Street, had been painted blue. Both the engineering department and the town arborist evaluated the parking structure that was installed. The engineering department noted that if the neighboring property to the left had any issues with stormwater from the dispersion of water from the structure that is now there, that the owner of 705 North Main and or the business owner would be responsible for resolving any issues that arise. Similarly, if any of the trees impacted by the installation of the structure within the critical root zone of said trees die or fail, the property owner at 705 North Main Street and or the business owner will be required to provide appropriate mitigation. UCMX zoning has a 0-foot side setback. Lot coverage and building code requirements will be addressed if the request for the structure to remain receives DRB approval and can proceed to permitting.
Good afternoon. My name's Crystal Alice. I'm the owner of Elite Bin Solutions. And we are here requesting, permission to keep for the approval of our carport to be able to remain where it is.
Across from,
It's across from the Taco Bell, right next to where the red pepper used to be, the cookout, right next to the cookout.
y'all cleared a lot of buffers there too, seems like.
I'm sorry.
Didn't you clear a bunch of vegetation out as well?
That is a property on the other side. Yes, and that has been addressed.
Okay. What is I'm sorry, just for orientation, what is the business use?
Insulation
It's a Mercedes repair shop,
or the Mercedes.
Oh.
repair shop.
The old
Yeah.
German auto.
the old terminal.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
Okay.
I think your carport looks fantastic.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
It's a big improvement.
Can you go back to the elevation that showed the colors back up?
Height of the metal building.
Is that the,
This is the.
okay.
It's just-
Yeah,
You own the building in front too?
I'm sorry.
The building in front?
The building in front is a law firm. We are not associated with them.
Okay, so you just in back
Correct.
and you own the property in back?
No, the owner of the
Yes.
property is Hans, I can't ever pronounce his last name, but, we've already been in contact with him and he is on board with everything that we've been doing.
He does own the front building as well.
He does.
He owns that entire.
He owns the entire lot.
Can you go to the elevation of the structure instead of the end? It was so is that the final color?
Unless you want to change.
Unless you want to change, but yes,
Okay.
we made it to match the color of the building as well.
I like the
Okay.
wood
The idea is
color.
you wouldn't see it from the roadside.
Right, to kind of blend it in.
Was the building that color?
No.
Okay, so that was painted as well. That's what I was,
Mhm.
okay.
It was like a mustard yellow before.
The only thing we're looking at is the carport.
No, it's the structure and that we found out later in conversation that the building had been painted. I was unaware that it had been painted. The report that I received was just that a structure had been put up. So the building had already been painted, but technically they would have needed your approval.
Yeah.
Purple and orange look great.
To this
Good
game
color.
here, so. I'm sorry, what was the question?
Purple and orange are great. Good color.
That was,
Right, though. All right, does Candy have any?
I think it's unfortunate, the color is a pretty color, but it's a little too smart.
We can't see it from over.
Yeah,
This
you
more
can-
than
you can
this.
See it from the road.
In this
You
case,
gotta work hard to see.
you truly can't see it from the road unless you only look down the driveway because it's very hidden.
And we do, I pulled all the cars out of there. We do usually have cars there too. So from the roadside, you really don't even see the whole half of that, bit, like the whole quarter panel of that building. It does kill it down. I just took everything out from underneath it for.
So typically there'll be cars all over
Correct.
there.
So
correct.
we have a lot of cars
Yeah.
there.
So still car repair?
Yes, yeah, just Mercedes only. Mercedes only.
Any further discussion? Or concerns?
I just want to ask, were you not aware that you had to get
I
approval?
wasn't. This is my first time being an owner. I just wanted to make it look pretty. So I was like, let's paint the building. It looks ugly. It's yellow. It's gross. So we painted it, but I've learned my lesson. I promise I did.
You swear to God?
I swear.
Okay.
All right, would someone like to make a motion or requesting final approval?
Make a motion, final approval.
Is there a second? Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Do we have anyone here for 7-Eleven Central? So this is an after the fact request as well for final approval.
This is an after the fact,
Yes. So the building had at 7-Eleven Central Avenue had been painted black. Again, the modification of 50% or more of any street facing facade requires DRB approval. The building had previously been painted white with a metal roof and red accent details and signage. Building appears to be primarily CMU block. And
Yes.
the only other modification that staff is aware of were a few window replacements, but those were in kind or to meet code requirements. And they are aware that signage for the new business moving in will require permitting or staff approval.
Right. Yeah, so we stopped as soon as we got the notice.
They received a stop work order.
My understanding is y'all were improving the building, done a lot of renovations.
Can't read it. so.
And
Yeah, it was a kind of a tan color. It could have been faded 20-year-old white maybe, but it was definitely tan. Try to hide the the imperfections so we didn't have to wrap it. So we tried to go something darker, iron ore, which seemed to be a pretty standard color.
Brush color, really.
The roof is definitely not clean. We're gonna pressure wash that. But and then go with black trim around the around the cap there. So none of that's done. You can see the contrast of the sign there. If they put a sign up on the side, it'll definitely pop and help it be seen a little bit more. And also landscaping that we have not got to yet. We have somebody helping us out with that, but we haven't been able to do that yet. So I think there's gonna be a structure up front, along that. If you go to the front view. So those bushes are gonna be gone. We're gonna do something with that. I don't know what. But hopefully that can, soften the road view.
so is this next to the cigar shop?
This is about 3 to the left of that. It's right across from the retirement home up there. Okay. So something's coming in behind there,
Visible.
from what my understanding,
Maybe.
eventually, if they get through it. So there'll be some mixed use buildings back there behind there. So
What color are you painting around the window trims? What color is the front door?
so
There's some inconsistency when you look at the side.
that's
So-
all primer there that you see that's not the iron ore color. The other color that we had was tricorn black. that would,
Was that what was on that front elevation?
yes, on the upper left portion, we just painted a little sample. So that was gonna be tricorn black, the front, the iron ore. The door was going to be black, but it hasn't been painted yet. As well as yeah, if that's too much, then we can definitely change it.
It's too much.
Is the door,
What's it
what was
made
that,
of?
9
Thick
over, what do you
wood?
call that door? Is that door stain or are you putting in a different door?
Looks like a
We're going to keep the
glass has
door.
been painted.
You can see it's a, I don't know what you call it, but it has a lot of window panes inside of
Oh,
there, glass
glass.
panes.
Has a side light beside the door? Is that
Yes,
what that
yes,
is?
that's to the left of that. So all those windows the panes are being replaced. Right now, that's why they have the access over them. They're being replaced tomorrow.
So you'll have clear glass on the front door.
Yes, yes.
On the front door will be glass? Is
The
that what
front
you said?
door that's all glass.
It's gonna be
And
the
it's
same door.
primed over and covered.
It'll be clear once they get done.
To be clear, and the front door could be whatever color if I'm all open for opinions.
That temporary post will go away,
The temporary,
or is that the temporary post? Is that part of the door?
That's a
that's
clear
part of the door. So there's a light on
Like
the
that.
side, about
See
a
that?
side light.
Side
8-inch
Side light
maybe
there.
light on the side.
Yeah.
We were going to replace the door, but the cost was
Yeah.
unbelievable. I was just shocked at the whole thing when we renovated it.
It's only $1,200.
Yeah, for the bare bones one.
I would leave the shrubbery in front. That's the best thing you got going for you.
We're
The shape of the roof and the shrubbery, I would leave.
we're definitely putting something up there. I don't know if that shrubbery, we can keep it though. But just put some kind of boxes up there because what had happened, every time somebody comes through there and mows, the previous owners, did the weed eating, it would sling rocks up on the window. That's why we're replacing everything. So we're gonna try to do some planter up there with some color. I don't know. That was gonna
So,
be up to the
Help
landscape
me to
person.
understand, you've got, the building is iron ore,
Yes.
but then you're gonna paint this darker black
Yeah.
across the front.
No.
But that trim, just that
Just
trim
that
right
one
there,
piece going across.
just that one piece going across.
I think you need to paint the building in the conventional style, which is if you painted the building black, you'd have white or a lighter color trim around all the doors and windows. Along that band board, the gable louver that's up there would be a lighter accent color.
Mhm.
But you need some accent colors as well as that black background.
Needed something. So the person who usually helps us with paint colors and who's really good has been out of town, and we just went ahead and picked that. My wife did. So
It's just.
when I drove up, I gotta be honest, I was a little
dark.
shocked.
Yeah, I mean, all your
But,
gable trim needs to be an accent.
So,
Gable
yeah.
trim needs to be your roof trim, soffit.
I'd
That should all
prefer-
be an accent
Do
color.
this slide.
I'd really
that
prefer not
light
to
and
repaint the
window
entire
slide
building. If we
and that
do,
light.
so be it. But if we could somehow salvage it,
What if you kept all the CMU that iron ore,
Yeah.
just do what Bill's saying and maybe
agree.
go 2 shades lighter on the gray or something?
Yes.
Everything above that band board and up.
Do a lighter shade of gray.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Just take your iron ore and you can,
lighten it.
yes, take it a couple shades lighter and stay in that same family. Don't
Okay.
go this extreme black.
And it won't seem so heavy.
Right.
Or the red roof especially. Yeah, So-
I hadn't even thought about.
it needs to be cleaned.
It needs to be, you need to put a rust killer. They make a paint applied product that will kill, eat the rust, stop the rust.
Okay.
And then you gotta put a finish on that to prevent the sunlight
We're
from
gonna have
deteriorating.
If we do something with that roof, is that something we come back for? We paint the roof?
I would come back on it and just.
Okay.
But
That's
you really are not gonna successfully clean that roof. You're gonna end up with all kinds of rust holes in the roof,
Right.
and you're gonna need a new roof.
I'm just gonna throw this out here.
Sure.
What was the business again?
It's going to be a flower shop.
Okay.
Oh,
Because,
yeah, you need to
because it's a
lighten it
flower
up.
shop, I think it would be so cute. Just take the shrubbery out and put window boxes. with beautiful plants in the window boxes.
Okay.
I think that would pop against
I
the dark
agree.
color.
I agree.
The window boxes could be a different.
Yes, you
too.
can.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
So the business can it will help their business. You know what I'm saying? It's a plant business. I think window boxes would just be lovely right there. It's a small little building. And I think that would be very much a good ad.
Okay. Well, somebody told me that a lot of what I'm seeing there could be fixed with the landscaping and like you say, maybe a little different trim or something, door, different color, without having to repaint the whole building.
Yes.
You don't
So
I think,
just
think-
do this,
Yeah, keep-
this, and the window.
yeah,
Just
keep the CMU iron ore just as it is, and
Okay.
just from the band or soffit or whatever it is that you were painting black, make
Don't.
that a lighter,
Shades.
Like
several
go up a
shades
couple shades.
Go up
yeah,
a couple
the same
shades.
family, just,
Okay.
You can do the door.
I think your color consultant can
The
help. you with
window
that.
trim.
I think now that she's back, she can
The
definitely help
windows,
us.
windows are aluminum.
Window trim needs to, like, that looks too dark.
Windows are.
Right,
So the
okay.
trim needs to be a little bit lighter there. The door can go the lighter, the strip going across the front's the lighter. Add your window boxes. Window boxes would be beautiful with this, a natural that colored wood that
I think
people
that'd
do
be
right
great.
now that do the darker color with the
Mhm.
wood
Right.
Bingo.
and beautiful plants, colors, and the people who own the business can change it.
Oh, they're dying to have planter boxes there because they're all into the, flowers and keeping something in there.
And Tammy,
So-
did you say the vent?
Hey, what about the louvers? Louvers also same?
Yeah, same gray.
Same gray,
Okay, I'm good with that.
Trim gray.
yeah, a few shades lighter,
And
Okay.
worry about the roof next time.
correct.
And
Stay
what?
away from
What was
roof,
that?
It'll cost.
We'll
Worry
do the
about
roof next time.
Do I owe you all a consulting fee now?
Yes.
Maybe I'll come here next.
Flowers.
I'll help you
Bring
with
us
this one.
flowers, right.
Yeah, I'd like some.
It's not my business, but okay, we
All
can
right.
definitely do
I
that.
think those bushes and transplant them somewhere.
I'll definitely
Someplace.
transplant those.
Maybe so.
Those are probably 40-year-old boxwoods up front there.
I would not do a lot of foundation planting because you got a nice green space there with a lot of trees. and a
Right.
lot of You got enough greenery to get by. The window boxes will set it off, you'd be cooking.
And that left property line, those trees are not on our property at all. I got a feeling whoever comes in there is gonna need that for the right of way or, an access road. So I think that's going to be gone.
Well, that'll happen later,
If,
20 years. from now.
might be 20 years from now.
True.
All right, someone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
With
With
With-
the
comments.
conditions,
comments.
yeah, okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Think you're good? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Good to go. All right, thank you. Is that documented?
Becca will, yeah.
I'll email you tomorrow.
Perfect. Okay, thank you.
Good to see you.
All right.
All right, next is 606 Bacon's Bridge Road.
Okay, I'm gonna introduce the project and then we have Brian Cheek zooming in.
Hey, guys.
Hi, Brian. So this project was presented to the Technical Review Committee on October 22nd of this year. I'll let Brian get into the nuts and bolts of the phases that they're trying to do, but this is in the existing Sawmill Shopping Center. I included the TRC comments just so you could see those in the report, but I won't go through each one. We will say planning and engineering staff did had some concerns about safety as far as pedestrian access, parking, and the current state of the rear of the shopping center, which is part of this project. We have received site plans from the applicant, but the applicant is still working on dumpster locations that will need to be relocated. Here's the shopping center up here, and I'll let Brian take over. And Brian, you just let me know if you want me to jump to the site plan or pictures or the elevation.
Sure. Thanks for the intro. Nice to meet you guys. This is our first project in Somerville. We acquired this property a few years ago, and we're mainly in Greensboro, North Carolina. So kind of learning the way you guys do things. So yeah, I'll get into it. So the beginning of this project started with the new road that is going behind our shopping center, and us wanting the shopping center to have a little nicer look from the road. You know, it being back of house for the last however long it's been there, you know, 40 years or so. And then all of a sudden it having a pretty big presence from the new highway. So we wanted to dress it up. And with that, we started thinking about adding a tenant space off of the back and using that tenant space that would otherwise be kind of just wasted square footage, not leasable square footage without a front entry. Having a back entry, having a back storefront that gave it a little bit more of a facade update, and then also allowing for some of the front 3 spaces that are new, the nail salon, the eye doctor, and the card store, a fire escape, and an accessible fire escape out of the back. So if you want to go to the next slide, you can see where the canopy that sticks out like a finger right there. To the left of it, there's a 4-foot loading dock door. Our intent is to demo that and turn that into a front entry and back exit for the front 3 spaces with a handicap ramp. It's kind of hard to tell in the rendering because we've got a masonry wall that kind of covers it. But there's a ramp to the left of those stairs, and then a new stair centered up on the storefront. What we've done is tried to mimic what is in the front of the retail space and match the colors and the architectural features with the shutters, and then have our tenant signage up there above. And so really, just trying to, I guess, get a feel for what you guys are looking for, or what you guys like or dislike from the facade standpoint. And then also there's a second phase where we've got a civil engineer getting involved to help us add parking where the existing back of curb is. We need to increase impervious back there. So that's why we're getting the civil involved. And what we're doing is creating a double row of parking. So some parking up against the back of the building, and then a drive aisle, and then another row of parking up against the existing back of curb. And then our thought was to put the dumpsters in that same row and have them screened to match the new addition of the facade. So kind of using the dumpsters, relocating them, because if you can tell in the picture, they're just scattered, and it's one of the reasons it looks so bad back there. Just going down, they're just randomly placed. Some of them aren't even facing the same way. And so in hopes of screening them, we were thinking that could be a good way to kind of hide some of the behind the house, back of house kind of items as well. So that's kind of where we're at. We'd love to hear your feedback.
I've been looking at this shopping center since I saw the first drawings in 1973 up in Columbia. We're on a job interview.
So I was nowhere close with 40 years.
So it's you're doing the old Winn-Dixie store. That's the
correct
box on the end, and then had an Eckerd's drugstore next to it.
Yeah.
Are you getting into the Eckerd's at all, or are you just going to stay with the Winn-Dixie?
We're staying within the Winn-Dixie, and yeah, that's a good plan to look at. So I'm not sure if the original Winn-Dixie went further than the Tuesday morning that it was more recently. But if you
it went all the way to the Dollar Tree.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know about the right side.
Left and right.
Okay.
All the way to it. It sticks out further than the Dollar Tree, which was an Eckerd's drugstore.
Okay.
So your plan looks good, but how about the brick on the front that's a Harris Teeter stock color brick? You're not using it on the back, I see.
No, we're not proposing any material changes in the back except for the storefront area right there where we've got an ephes to match the front. We're not trying to necessarily match the Harris Teeter. We're trying to match the rest of the shopping center. That's the front, directly the front of this back. And so our intent is to paint it two-tone on the left and right of this. Have a two-tone beige to match, to kind of fit in with the front. So no new masonry in the back. We would be framing out a parapet and coming off of the existing back wall slightly to give it some dimension. And then that would be painted ephes with some added architectural shutters and a canopy.
But the wall with the stairs and this guardrail and all that, that's new, correct?
Yes, the guardrail is existing. We need
The truck dock is there and then you're going to the left with your entry.
correct.
So the wall on the left is new.
Correct. Yeah.
Well, part of
That's old.
Yeah, if you can zoom in a little bit on that picture where not that one, the existing. So there's an existing 4-foot dock with guardrails right now. We're proposing to remove that entire thing and go back with a brand new ramp that goes left and then has a landing and then goes back up the other way to the right. And then a stair on the right side of it. And then, yeah, we're going to remove the canopy that's on the dock that's sticking out very far because it kind of, yeah, we're removing those as well.
Part of the success of the recent renovation to the Harris Theater area was the use of brick, which is kind of a Somerville iconic material. There's a brick plant here, so that's kind of why there's so many brick buildings in Somerville. I would encourage the use of bricks. One of the things I think the Harris Teeter was not as successful as it could have been was the shutters don't really match. I mean, they do in some areas, but they don't really have a function. They don't like to the left of PetSmart. Notice the angles are different. They just look like something that was applied without thinking through function.
We can be convinced to not include I'm an architect and if I had to put my own opinion in it, yeah, using a material not the way it's supposed to be intended to be used isn't my favorite thing to do, but we were just trying to match what was existing.
Yeah, in my opinion, there's 4 people here. I wouldn't repeat what I consider a mistake or whatever, something that's not
I
true,
like the shutters.
not real. Maybe if it
yeah,
was flat against the building, or maybe if there was an inset, like between the PetSmart and the way back, there's a stucco inset. Maybe there's something like that. Maybe you have it on the other elevation. I'd have to look at it again, but you could put like I said, make the shutters flat or something, or not have shutters at all, and it's just this kind of sign panel. But I think part of why this looks so good is the use of brick, and they were in a similar situation, and that tower wasn't there before, but they wanted to really make it look good, and that was successful. I think I understand where you're coming from, but the back of the building, the addition I've seen, it looks underachieving. And I think it could be done better.
So where we're coming from is we're trying to make it better than what it is right now. Our budget doesn't allow to make this a brick facade. So I guess what we're trying to accomplish is making it look better than it does right now. So that's kind of our budget, and we've kind of spent a good amount of time trying to value engineer this so that we can make it work and actually make the back of this building look good. So just not to argue or anything, but just to kind of let you know where we're coming from and our annual budget for this, for the modifications. You know, we're going above and beyond what our budget allows, you know, just for our yearly kind of maintenance. And so I guess our opinion is anything is better than what is back there right now. And so as far as, you know, any kind of feedback as far as form but the use of brick, I think is going to blow our budget and isn't really in our, doesn't really pencil out for us, I guess.
How are you gonna handle the roof, the water run off the roof? It all flows right back to where you're building a parapet wall.
There's two gutters that we're gonna have to reorient to the left and the right of the new parapet.
You have to put some internal roof drainage in.
No, so the gutter along the back is an exposed gutter at the top. So we're just gonna rework that gutter and kind of get so that the downspouts don't interfere with the new facade. So they would either be on the left or right, or we would build them into one of the columns.
I understand what you're saying, but you have to understand where we're coming from too. Brick is a Somerville thing. You know, there's opportunities to put brick on this, even if it's the wall or the ramp or the stairs. There's more pedestrian friendly detailing. It appears right now that this just asphalt going up to the wall, so it's going to look very stark. Maybe the tenant signage panel needs to be higher instead of, it looks pretty subtle, especially from the distance of Berlin Myers Parkway. I think this is going to be more valuable space than you have now. So I would encourage you to take a harder look at the budget. Somerville is a very, very desirable community to be in. This is going to have a tremendous amount of average daily trips once this is put in.
Be the back.
It's no longer going to be the back. You've got an opportunity to create, maybe there's more shops along the back and much more landscaping that really enhances this. It's hard for me to kind of get behind this as I see it right now.
Okay. I assure you, we've looked at the budget. We're an all-inclusive firm, from grading to interior design, with our financial team here. So we have looked at the budget. We've got a budget. So we can look at, you know, adding some accent bricks. I do agree with you. I don't disagree with anything you're saying, for the record. There's absolutely, from a designer standpoint, more that we could do, but what we're trying to do is what we can do. And we're trying to do the right thing and make the back of this look better.
Thank you for that. Are there any other staff comments? I mean, any other DRB comments?
I just think, so if you look at where the current picture of Wayback Burgers and you look over to the side where you see that column of brick, then you look at your new, where you do have some choices to put columns of brick. You do. I understand the budget, but if you're looking at, we don't want to do it all in brick there. I think there is a way to get some of it in there. So just
something to make it look much more inviting and friendly, and
right.
Somerville, and not the, you know, same old. Candy, do you have any comments?
I think the brick is needed. The brick is needed at some level. It doesn't have to be entirely brick, just some accenting. And I think you're going to have to really look at where you're going to have the parking, and is there going to be any landscape of any kind to soften the look, and how you would do that.
Yeah, I think landscaping needs to be studied a lot harder.
Yeah, you're on the right track. We're just trying to suggest things that would be important.
Bill, do you have any other comments?
No, not really. I think you've covered them.
All right, they're asking for preliminary approval. In my opinion, this really should have been a conceptual submittal.
I think conceptual.
I agree.
That's kind of, that would have been much more appropriate to be conceptual. I understand this is kind of new.
Yeah, I had no idea that this was even a thing. So your staff has been very, very helpful. So they just randomly brought it up. And luckily we had a few days to kind of put this together before the submittal was due. So
Alrighty, they're requesting, I appreciate that. They're requesting preliminary approval. Is there, someone like to make a motion?
Make a motion, we, not grant preliminary approval.
Okay. So there's, all
Comments noted for conception.
right, so,
Right.
all right. Becca, does that make sense? Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor of not granting preliminary approval, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Alrighty, thank you so much. And Becca will coordinate with you after. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
All right, anything under miscellaneous?
No, sir.
All right,
Ooh.
let's have a motion for adjournment.
Make a motion for adjournment.
Seconded.
Second.
All right, let's go. Thank you.
Scoot.
that.
Scoot.